Hi guys, this is Wolf, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I hope you guys don't mind. I just wanted to share my thoughts on champions that either should be in Path of Champions that are already in the game, also give my thoughts on a couple of them that are already in Path. So this video is not really a tier list that much, it's about sharing my opinion about the state of the champions in general, I guess. Let's just start up and you'll see the tiers as we move along, shall we? Okay, so let's get started. I pulled the Kale and of course I had to pull Morgana. I think Morgana is in an amazing state. I think nobody has a deck that works that way. I think her design is very unique as well. Her powers feel great. Everything about her really just clicks for me. Kale, I don't think she should be in Path. Whether she comes or not, I don't really care too much, but I think her playstyle is a little bit boring, so I'm gonna put her in don't care. Yeah, she's just like, she does nothing that is unique to her, and the only real cool thing about Kale is Mihira and maybe Solani. So other than that, I don't see how this is good content for the game. So we have Sejuani, I guess. We also pull Ashe and I guess Lissandra as well, if I can find her. So Sejuani is not in Path of Champions. I'm surprised she's not in Path of Champions, but if she gets added, she's either the most boring thing we've ever seen because everyone else, every single brawler plays like her, so that's nothing unique to her, or she could actually have some cool effect to her. The problem is we already have Frizz champion and she already feels great. I feel like the Ashe adventure is crazy good. She is such a solid choice. She can be a little bit slow in like the early levels. If you just start playing Path, she feels like a little bit slow, like she does not have enough things going on, but she is great. She is a great champion. And Lissandra, I mean, just S tier. I'm surprised she's not a playable champion yet. And to be fair, I wish she was. AI of Lissandra was so cool in the effect that landmarks got a countdown as you summon more of them. I thought that was really clever. It could actually be her star powers. Like something like when you summon a landmark with a countdown, then advance your frozen thralls one, right? Or two, depending on the star power. And then you get extra mana, and this adventure feels really unique. So there was a dog barking while I was recording this. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, Makai, please don't. He brings nothing new to the table. He is boring as hell. He has nothing on going on for him. He's better off as a support champion, honestly. Nautilus needs to be in Path, and he needs to be reworked to be in Path, because the obvious solution for Nautilus is making his 1-star power something like, or like his 3-star power something like you're deep all the time, right? Like you're always deep, something like that. But I feel like that beats the point of the deck. I feel like that's what makes the deck fun. Because if you're not tossing, then what are you even doing, right? You can make getting too deep easier, that's fine. But I feel like he needs specific cards to become more fun and more coherent as an archetype. So I think he should be in Path, but with some added cards. I think he should have new cards to be in Path. So I'm actually going to add another tier. I added this, so I want the champion to be in Path of Champions, but to be reworked in some sort of way before they come to Path of Champions. I want Nautilus to have maybe more sea monsters, maybe more followers that are in sea monster, maybe some spells that you can create for Path of Champions that would make no sense in PvP because Deep is already a very well established archetype and there's every likelihood that every single new card you print for it will break it, right? Because it's already pretty good. But yeah, you can just add more content for Path is what I'm saying. And that could make Nautilus very interesting to play with. So we have Victor. He is not in Path, and honestly, I think, yeah, that's a war crime almost. I will say, just because I would hate not to mention it, Sunny has been requesting Victor for too long. Please end his suffering. Yeah, he should be in Path for sure. Yi, I honestly don't even care. Where's Leeson, dude? He should be right next to him, if not before him. This is in no particular order, by the way. At least not for now. Maybe I will reorder them later. Shyvana is one of my faves. I think she I don't know if she needs any new stuff to be in Path. Just add her, honestly. I don't think she needs new cards. I don't think she needs new followers, new dragons, new whatever. She already has all the cards she needs. She just needs cool powers. So we get to Barris, and I think I'm gonna pull the other Darkin as well. All right, so I have all of them here. I think there are no more Darkins. If there are, we'll get to them eventually. So let's start with Aatrox. I think his path adventure is fantastic. I think he feels the fantasy that you want from him, so that's awesome. Kayn, I honestly don't care about Kayn. I feel like he's a little bit weak, but he's fine, so let's just put him there. It's not a matter of reworking him, it's a matter of how fun he is, and he's not that fun, but that's honestly on the champion. And when it comes to Varus, I think he could actually use the rework. Varus is fine in terms of balance, but he's just not fun to play with. His deck feels, it does the thing you want it to do, but it is not a fun thing to do. And that's honestly on Varus as a champion, like his actual design, and not so much about the deck and the cards that are in it. This is just how Varus plays. So yeah, I guess it does what it's meant to do. It's just not a fun thing to do. So we get to the bear and might as well put Ornn and Anivia up there. Let's start with the bear. I think Bolivar is fantastic, honestly. Like, no notes about it. They just took something that could be bland and made it into something so cool with the slays, the strikes, the landmarks. I feel like that's such a unique approach to what Bolivar is trying to do, which again could be something really boring because he just wants to ramp in to play big unit, right? But yeah, this is really good job by Riot. Anivia, I don't think she should be a Path of Champions. I mean, she could be cool, no pun intended. She could be like a fun champion, but she's so slow and boring. Anivia V2, maybe. And Ornn is already in path. He is what Bolivar could have been, right? So I really don't care. Just bad. I don't know. He's not bad, but he's boring to play. Any, and I guess I will bring her partner in crime, Jhin, wherever he is. So Jhin is already in path. He feels amazing. He is a great champion. He is super strong, and he makes you think about sequencing so much. Just overall great design. He is fantastic. Annie is more of a bursty aggro mage, and that's honestly great for her. That's exactly where she wants to be. I think, she is not maybe the most exciting champion to play, but she is well made. Actually, I don't hate this as much as I think I should. Because Fizz is degenerate against people, right? But against the AI, this could actually be fun. What would his deck look like though? I guess a bunch of cheap spells. The problem with Fizz is he relies on people using stuff on him to be fun, right? That's like how you live the Fizz fantasy. So yeah, I don't know. So adventures where you don't get that would be just boring. He's just another elusive unit. So if you add him, if you do, then he needs something else going on. Right now, he is a little bit meh. I think he falls into the don't care territory. But if you do something cool with him, then yeah, he could be added. All right, so we have the landmark boys, where them at. I'm actually going to add Talia as well. And I would add Lissandra here if she wasn't here already. By the way, Lissandra, please, next champion in POC, please. Anyway, Talia is already in. She's more of a don't care to me. I guess I'm missing a good tier, but honestly, there is no good in Path of Champions. They're either fun or, just another champion of the bunch. Yeah, Talia, she feels very slow early on, and as you get more powers, she does get more consistent and fun, but she's still boring. So the problem I have with Talia is that her early game, like early levels and low star powers, are terrible. She is one of the worst, probably. So it's not fulfilling as a player, the Talia fantasy is what I'm trying to say. I think Seraph should be in the game. He has a very cool package of cards, and he is another Ascended, so why the hell not? Six, I don't know. I feel like Six could be the same as Seraph, but the thing about him is that he doesn't feel unique. Because the thing is, Seraph damages units, and he has this sort of destroy landmark to gain more presence on the board, which I think is more fun and entertaining than just destroy landmark to burst the enemy nexus. I feel like there are other champions who can do that, and Six is kind of like this aggro champion, so I really don't care if he gets added. If he does, maybe he needs some cool new stuff. So while we were talking about Seraph, I added these three champions, which are the Shurimans, and Nasus is already in the game. I think he needs a rework. He is so boring. His 3-star is kind of cool, but you never get there anyway. So yeah, he's not. I mean, she's just a boring champion. There's nothing else to it. And the thing about Renekton is that he suffers from the same thing as Sejuani, where he is just big dude with overwhelm. But I think Renekton would be more fun. His followers are more entertaining in a way, and you can have some sort of cool mechanic with the vulnerables where you start free attacks maybe. So I can see him. Now, Asir is a problematic one, and I'll just add Irelia next to him because they belong together. Right, so Asir is problematic because these two are pretty much doing the same thing. I feel like Asir has the potential to be a crazy good champion when he gets added to Path of Champions. And I said when, but I think the focus should be in restoring the Sun Disk, like some sort of alternative mission where you restore the Sun Disk through summoning or through achieving something with Azir, right? Maybe when I reach level 2, ascend me instead, right? So he instantly goes to level 3, so you get the Emperor's deck. I feel like that is more entertaining than just a bunch of Sand Soldiers, right? But maybe, his early star adventures could be about Sand Soldiers attacking, and then when you get to 3 stars, he becomes a machine that turns your deck into the Emperor deck. So you have some sort of change in your strategy from low stars to high stars. I feel like that would be more interesting than just buffing Sand Soldiers everywhere. And now, of course, my girl, I know she gets a lot of hate, but honestly, listen, I know Blade Dance is degenerate. I know it's a mechanic that nobody likes to face, but here's the thing. AI has no feelings, so they don't mind blade dancing, and it is actually fun to blade dance. When you're the one blade dancing, you're having fun. You are the blade dancing queen, so have a ball. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Irelia, I just love her. I mean, she's such a cool champion that got a lot of hate, deserved hate, by the way, for being in this awful meta. But yeah, she should be in path. Now, the thing about Irelia is that you have to make her interesting, otherwise she becomes boring. Something like your strongest ally attacks with the blades would be cool, but you can also create some specific cards for her. So add with a couple of reworks or tweaks, but just add her, honestly. So we get to Ari. She's one of my personal favorites. She's my favorite champion in all of League. I think I've said this before. Yeah, her adventure is just fantastic. She is amazingly done. She fulfills the fantasy that was lacking in her PvP experience. I don't really know how to explain it. PvP, it felt like she was missing something. She was a cool champion. She was a well-designed champion. It's just that, I thought Ari was more of a spell-based mage. So I was picturing her to have more like orbs and spells and throw stuff and then switch positions and whatever. And her approach was very good. I'm not complaining, but her PvP experience was a little bit underwhelming, probably because she was stuck with one deck, right? The same thing that happens to Nautilus or Maokai, Fiora, let's just get it over with. The thing is, if you add Fiora, and I'm gonna put Cat next to her, if you add any of these, they have the potential to break the game instantly. Like you don't even play their adventures. So you would have to put something like your champions can have relics on their adventures. And I think that's just bad design in general. I'm gonna put Rice next to them, but the thing is Rice is far more interesting because Rice has to grind for his win condition. Sure, he is Exodia, but winning with Rice is more gratifying and harder also to do than with these two. These are just win cons that are super cheap. Cat goes infinite if Fiora can just win the turn she's played. There's no point in playing Path at that point. So we get to Draven, let's put his brother next to him. And actually let's add Jinx to the mix because she's also a discard champion. Jinx is already in path. She is great because she's one of those aggro decks. Same with Fortune, we'll get to her eventually, but she is just great. She feels great. She's just aggro in path. Nothing else to add, really. She feels the Jinx fantasy, I guess. So the problem with Darius is not really that his power suck. Problem with Darius is that one, he is super boring. Same problem Sejuani has, same problem Renekton could have. The other problem, which I think is more interesting and more concerning as well, is that he is not the main champion in his deck. That's just awful design. You're better off getting a Renekton in your deck and then playing for him than just sticking to Darius. I feel like Darius is a boring champion, but there are other ways to get him to be entertaining, like maybe you generate and apprehend every turn. Maybe the enemy nexus starts at half health. Wouldn't that be interesting? So yeah, I think he needs a rework. We get to Aesol. I mean, 10 out of 10. If you watch my videos, you know that I absolutely love this champion. He is so much fun to play. I will say that grinding to get his star powers is a little bit tedious, but it's so worth it. You know, the one star power is so powerful and so much fun at the same time that it's worth it. So I'm gonna put him in amazing. I think they should do more champions like him, right? Maybe not unlock through monthlies, but like this sort of design. Diana is cool, dude. If you asked me like a couple weeks ago, I would have put her in Don't Care because I don't really play her in PvP. But I tried her adventure and she feels great. She feels actually great. She becomes fun to play with the powers because you're thinking about sequencing, about stuff you want to pull with your challenger, about your overwhelms. She is just a good path champion. Queen, yeah, please don't add her. We already have Bane for this, so let's just add Bane to the mix. This is painful to say because I main Ahri and Bane in League, but Bane is just boring. She's good, don't get me wrong, she's really good. She's probably one of the best champions in Path. You can get lethals on turn one. That's, maybe something that shouldn't happen. But yeah, she's just boring. I do wish we got a Vayne V2, but that's probably a lot to ask. So we got to Jace. Let's add Heimerdinger next to him. I don't really care about Jace. He does some cool stuff. The problem is I'm not interested in the stuff he does. He does the thing you would expect from his adventure. That's the thing, right? Like you would expect it to go crazy and just duplicate spells and whatever, but I'm not interested in that. I don't think that's entertaining at all. Whereas Heimerdinger takes his design and his strengths in a new way, and I think his adventure is actually pretty cool. They gave him a lot of interesting stuff to play with, and I think they did a great job. I think that's a great adventure. So we got to Lulu, and let's put Taric next to her because they are both support champions. None of them is in Path. Here's the problem with Lulu, right? I want her in Path. The problem is she becomes useless in Path because suddenly your units being 4/4s on turn 1 is not important because the enemy summons a 20/20 on turn 1. So your stuff is not something relevant to the game anymore, right? She could be good early game, she could be good with 1 or 2 stars or against low star adventures rather, but then she just falls off. She's not sustainable, so she needs something to make her stay that way. And yeah, I like her a lot. I wish she was in Path, but she does have that problem. When it comes to Jarek, I think he is a cool champion, and I feel like he has a very high skill ceiling, but that doesn't really make me want to play him. I think maybe with a couple new cards, right? So this tier, sorry, he could be interesting enough to come to Path of Champions. He's not bad. He's just there are better choices, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we get to Sion, and let's put Rumble next to him. There he is. All right, so Rumble, I don't really care if he comes to Path of Champions. I don't mind him. I think he's a good unit. He is fun as well. Mega Yordles are fun, but am I playing 40 games of Mega Yordles? Probably not. He becomes boring after a while. There are some things they could do to make him more interesting, but I don't see him being the most entertaining of champions. Whereas Sion, I actually think he could be in Path like right now. He has a very unique package that people don't use a lot. There's I think she's called Lady of Blood, so there's an archetype there that isn't fully explored. I think Sion could be super interesting. Zoe, I mean, sure. Really torn between don't care because the thing is, I'm probably not playing her ever. But I guess some people like her, so let's leave her there. Yeah, split the difference. Maybe we put her in don't care. I don't know what Zoe does that could be different from anyone else. We already have things that create cards. We already have invoking through ASOL. We already have keyword sharing as a power. And I don't know, I feel like she could be fun, maybe. Not really. I'm not interested if she's fun. Kaisa, pretty good actually. Good champion. She's easy to level up. She's fun to play with. And she brings something unique to the table, I think. She's not the most exciting champion to talk about or play, but she is good and she is fun. And while we're talking about Kaisa, we might as well talk about Evelyn. And Evelyn is just a really big don't care for me. I know she got reworked a little bit. I know her star powers got better. I do like the fact that Husks lose immobile. I think that's a really smart change. I think that's smart design. That said, I'm not interested. It's just boring playstyle to me. She brings nothing new to the table. So we got the Seraphine, and let's put Karma next to her. Karma is a please don't. I don't see her becoming interesting. Whereas Seraphine is actually more interesting than she seems at face value. Because the thing is, Karma has to ramp to 10, and like sure, her star power could be something like you are in line at the game start, right? Seraphine, I feel like has to work for her thing. Has the potential to have decks that with only one copy of each card, which I think could be cool. So yeah, I think Seraphine is actually great for Path. Is she my favorite champion? No. Is she a champion I look forward to seeing in Path? Probably not, but she could work really well. You've probably seen Warwick already. A couple of days ago, actually, he got confirmed to be coming to Path. So let's just put him and Medarda. There we go. So next up, yeah, so just great. Just really no notes. You really do feel the Hisagi in his adventure. Soraka, and I guess we put Tom Kench next to her. Kench is already here and he could use a rework. He's boring, he's plain, he brings nothing I'm interested in to the table, which is funny because he's a eating champion, whatever. Soraka, on the other hand, has potential, I think. I feel like this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I think there is a place for Soraka to be in Path because she plays like no other champion with her alternative win condition. And yeah, just add a bunch of new cards to her so that she feels interesting again and you have a cool champion. She's great. I think she should be in Path. All right, so we got to Tristana. I guess we got the Yordles. So I added the Yordles, and since I added Nora, I added Yumi, and since I added Veigar, I added Senna. So Tristana, boring champion, brings nothing new. I really don't care. I'm gonna put her in please don't because if you're looking for new content for Path of Champions, you should never go to Tristana. I don't think she does anything cool. Timo, great champion, just, more mushrooms. Nar has a very boring adventure. Yeah, I want him to get reworked, but also the problem is that Nar doesn't do anything interesting. He transforms back and forth, so I guess we're adding Nidalee. The difference here is that Nar has interesting followers, whereas Nidalee has an interesting mechanic and her champion is actually interesting itself. I think Nidalee is amazing. It's a little bit boring, honestly. I almost want to put her in Don't Care, but yeah, she's well achieved, I think. Whereas Nar is, I think he's a Don't Care for me. So Nora is great. She becomes fun at 6 star. That would be like my only complaint about her. But yeah, she does what you would expect from a Path of Champions Nora, just a bunch of portals with a lot of created stuff coming from them. Yumi is boring as hell, and I'm actually gonna put her in her own tier. All right, that feels better. Yeah, she's so lame. I don't get what she's trying to do. I don't get the fantasy she's trying to fulfill. So the thing that frustrates me the most about Yumi is that Faded already has a really cool champion in Pantheon, right? So why is he not in Path? And we have Yumi who does nothing. She's boring. I don't care what you say. She's boring. I don't think. Moving on. Kennen, I really don't care, but also please don't add him. The thing about Kennen is that we already have Ari doing the things he's doing. Their archetype is very similar, so I really don't care about Kennen. I think he should be left out. Vex is not only super well designed as a champion, but she gets her fantasy enhanced by her path experience. I feel like she is very well accomplished, and there are so many cool powers and synergies that you have to think about when playing her. She's just really interesting, just really well done. Great work. Poppy is super boring. I'm gonna leave her at don't care because she has the potential to be somewhat interesting, though it is kind of like the Bane problem where all you do is attack multiple times in a round to level them up. Yeah, I don't think I like that. Let's leave her here. The Darkness champions, Veigar and Senna, are very problematic duo because Veigar is kind of the face of the archetype and he fits the path adventure really well. But Senna has the problem of, does she become a second Veigar if she gets added, obviously? No, she's not in path yet. Or does she do her own thing? The problem is her own thing may not be fun enough. It is kind of fun in PvP, but is it fun in Path where speed of spells doesn't really matter as much? So I'm gonna put in please don't add. It really hurts me to put her there, but I don't think she can bring anything new to the table. Everything she does is part of the Veigar archetype, or rather the Darkness archetype. So unfortunate for her, but yeah, it is what it is. Action, just I think everyone will agree on this one. Brom, I'm surprised he's not in Path, and he could actually be fun. I think you need some like cool powers for him, not necessarily new cards. Like you don't have to tweak him, just add some cool stuff that makes him stand out, right? He doesn't need to be Brom, the guy who endures hits. He can do something else. Kindred is a troublesome one because I just play them a bunch and they are fun, but they feel very weird. And don't get me wrong, I love the fact that Kindred plays different from other champions. I feel like that's very thematic. I feel like they have always been the sort of uncanny champion in League, even in League of Legends. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. There's something there. There's something they're doing right, but maybe they could add some more unique cards like Lamb's Respite, and then probably have some sort of relic that makes it burst speed that could be fun. They need some love, I think, is a problem. They don't feel fully accomplished as a path adventure. Maybe they just need more stars and they'll get something better. Who knows? Fortune, so let's put GP next to her. Fortune is already in path. She is really well done. Same as Jinx, really. Let's put them together. She is just aggro for path. She brings something new to the table. She isn't just aggro. She's more of a skill damage aggro, right? So it's interesting enough where you want to play her because nobody else does that. And then we have Gangplank, who I'm surprised is not in path already, but I don't think I want him in path. At least not yet. He does have a fun thing with barrels, but we've seen that before, and there's like powers that do that. So yeah, Tryndamere, like, just please don't. There's nothing interesting about this guy. I mean, I guess his powers could be kind of cool, but there's really nothing to say about this. Nami is already in path, and she is okay. Let's put her in amazing, even though she's not amazing. She's just fun, you know? She's not broken or anything. She's just fun. She's a good adventure. So we get to Cillian, and some of you are already thinking about printing time bombs. I think you're on the right track, honestly. He just may need some tweaks in the sense that time bombs need to scale a little bit because higher adventures are pretty much undoable with one damage time bombs. So there's something that needs to happen for him to be, to be able to scale into higher cost adventures, into higher star adventures. Same with Lulu, really. The same problem. And while we're talking about Cillian, we might as well add in Echo. Echo is already in path. He's just boring. I mean, there's nothing to it. He has such a cool power with predicting and redoing, and all they did was grant more stuff when you see something in predictions. Just feels lazy, honestly. Like, it's a cool mechanic, don't get me wrong, but is it a mechanic you want to play over and over again? I don't know. He also feels like slow. Viego is one of the best in Path of Champions, I feel. He does revolve around stats, but that's kind of his thing. Like, it makes sense for him to do that. And yeah, he's actually a lot of fun. It's not a deck I would always play. I think there are more entertaining adventures in Path, but Viego is really solid and really strong as well. So we get to Vi. I know she was just released. I know, very recently anyway. I know she got reworked a little bit as well. But the problem with Vi is that the champion itself does something that is super boring and slow. So whatever powers you find that go with that will also not feel great. We get a Lucian. I guess, I should have included him with Senna. Yeah, Lucian, I don't think he should be in the game. I just realized you haven't been seeing this for the longest time. My apologies. But yeah, we added GP and Tryndamere here. I'm not going to redo their whole thing because it makes no sense. But yeah, Lucian just brings nothing new. He does have double attack and he has like the Senna follower. That could be a cool thing to see them together. But is the deck entertaining? Probably not. Set is a tough one because he is a fun favorite, right? But the thing is, Set doesn't do anything cool. He's just an early game champion. So I guess he could be added, and they could probably think of cool star powers for him, like attack with more living shadows. I guess that's kind of Blade Dance and a Seer Sun Soldiers, but there could be something there. It's just that I don't really care. He's a boring champion. I do want Galio in the game, but I want him reworked a little bit. If I had it my way, Galio would be a landmark that just pops after a couple turns and summons him. And, maybe that's like his 3-star power. He starts as a landmark, and when you play a spell, you discount him, or like when you play something with Formidable, or when you strike something with Formidable. I don't care. The thing is, I want him to work that way because he kind of is a landmark that comes to life. So let people have their thing. We get to Samira. She is not great, but she is not awful either. She does have a certain unique plunder style to her, which is all the more reason GP shouldn't be in the game because that's also his thing. So he would be more redundant. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna put her in amazing, even though she's not amazing. She just needs a little bit of love, but she's on the right track, is what I'm trying to say. We get the Janna, and we also get the Neela. I'm gonna add her next. Janna, I feel, is really great. There's no one else who does what Janna does, and she synergizes super well with a lot of stuff. She does have some problems, obviously, because it's a deck that just kind of draws, and she's meant to be a support champion anyway. But yeah, she has a cool deck, I feel. I wish she was a little bit more focused on elemental stuff, right? Having a little more elemental synergy and spells, that could be cool. But yeah, she's fine. So we get Neela next. Yeah, I honestly don't care about Neela. I think she's fine. And that's really all I have to say about her. I just don't play her because I don't care. We get the TF. TF should be in Path, I feel. I mean, it is a card game. He's a card champion. Should he be reworked before coming to Path? Probably not. I feel like the main issue with TF is that it's very simple to think of boring star powers for him, whereas what would make more sense is you have some more access to the Destiny cards. I feel like that would be the cool thing to do with him. And if you take that route, then he is a must add for Path of Champions. A couple of champions ago, I said I was gonna add Caitlyn, and I hope you guys don't hate me for it. Yeah, she's great. I mean, no comments really. She's just great champion, great design. I love the fact that she gets a card that critically strikes. I feel like that could be a mechanic that more champions have. Maybe some spells as well. Maybe even Lux could have that. But yeah, just amazing. So the thing about Thresh is that he is doing the thing you would expect Thresh to do. It's just not a really interesting thing to do. He does the thing that other champions do, like Elise, for example. She does something similar with the Spiderlings. Yeah, he's fine, just not amazing. I feel like maybe more star powers. Perhaps some star powers could change my mind, like give him something cooler to do. But for now, he's just a don't care. We get to Rek'Sai and let's put Pike next to her. Pike does something that nobody else does, which is lurking, and I feel like that's fine for him. My one concern about Pike is that how can Rek'Sai be in the game if he is in the game, right? It's pretty much the same thing as the Senna thing, where Veigar's in the game, so Darkness is already an archetype in Path. So how is Senna gonna make sense then? Well, she's not gonna. And Rek'Sai kind of has the same problem, but Rek'Sai is more interesting to me as a champion than Pike. I guess the reason behind adding Pike instead of Rek'Sai is his fan base is bigger, just like that's probably all there is to it. But yeah, I think Rek'Sai should be in Path because this is just a tier list based on my opinion. So yeah, deal with it. We get Ilawi. Ilawi is fine. Honestly, I don't care too much about her. Her star power is what you would expect from an Ilawi adventure, and there's not a lot more to say about that. It's kind of boring, honestly. Maybe she needs more stars to be more interesting. We get to Callista, and she is okay as a champion, but in PvP only. In Path, she is, I feel like there's so much stuff going on in Path that just does everything Callista does, but better, that I don't think she should be a champion. I think there are better choices. We get Nico. I think we should have added her with Nidalee. She's great. She does the thing you would expect a Nico to do. It may not be the most fun thing ever, but she does her job. There's not a lot to say about Nico, honestly. I think her deck is good. I think the things she's trying to achieve are great, are fun in a way. She's just not the most played champion because there are better options out there. Bard, sure. I mean, he's not amazing. He's just good. But yeah, I mean, essentially that. He's just good. He doesn't do anything crazy, but then again, he's Bard. He doesn't do anything crazy to begin with. Even his PvP version is kind of just gives stats to people, and that's kind of it. So I think for the things you want from a Bard deck, he does them really well. The one thing I will say about Bard is that I'm surprised Maduli is not in his deck. Maybe that could change someday. We get to Moonboy. As I'm losing my voice, I think he needs to be added to Path of Champions, no question about it. Just, I'm going to put him in tweaks, but not because he needs changes. Instead, I want him to have cool, unique followers and spells, and maybe some people who can wield the weapons for him. Like, there's so much potential with this champion. He's just so great, and he's such a staple for Path of Champions in general because everything works well with Aphelios. So, yeah, just add him to the game. Trundle, yeah, I don't really care about Trundle. Swain is already in path and he feels great. I don't have a lot more to say about him. I think his deck is fun. I think it is a fun archetype and he is really well made. So we got to Malphite. Yeah, I mean he's not in path and I don't think I care about him being in path. Yeah, I feel confident leaving him here. The thing is, there are so many cooler landmark champions, and they already feel lackluster. I feel like Sereth is the only one who could feel unique and do something different. The rest just kind of feel meh. Nocturne, I'm surprised this guy is not in Path of Champions. I feel like he could be just with a couple changes. The thing about Nocturne is that he is not great as a champion himself. He's more of a glorified follower, but there is something there. I think there is a place for this Nightfall fearsome archetype to be somewhere. Just needs a little bit of love and a push in the right direction. So the thing about Elise is that you want the spider aggro fantasy, right? So she achieves that. She very much achieves that. I'm gonna say she needs a rework, not really because she needs any reworks, but because she needs more star powers. I want to go further with her. So I guess I'm gonna put her in amazing. Jarvan is a tough one. I feel like he has a solid fan base, but I don't care about anything he does. I don't think he brings anything original to the table. And yeah, I'm just kind of tired already talking about him, so please don't. Listen is already in Path of Champions, and I could not care less about his adventure. He is one of the most boring champions ever to play. I guess the +8/+8 feels good sometimes, like it gives you that extra serotonin, but yeah, he's not entertaining in any way. I think the main issue with Sin and with Master Yi as well is that every game feels the same, so that's not a good thing. You know, Bane kind of has that same problem as well. There are a couple of champions who have that same problem, and they're all here. So yeah, I'm not loving this. Mordekaiser, here's the thing about Mordekaiser. I don't think he's bad. I feel like for a champion that brings stuff from the dead, his star powers are lackluster, for a better word. Yeah, just make him more interesting. I think he's up for rework, so we'll see. LeBlanc, yeah, I mean, am I right? I think the main issue with LeBlanc is that the base character, the base champion really is so boring that you can't really take it more places. It's just, big bonk on a unit. Yeah, I don't like it. I think just remove her from path from the game, honestly. Udyr is fine as a champion. I like his rework, his visual rework, and the things they did in Runeterra for him are also pretty good. I wouldn't mind him in an adventure. Maybe make his stuff burst speed so that I don't have to sit through 10 hours of animation. Yeah, I mean, is he the most entertaining champion? No, but he does something new, so why not? Pantheon, I think, should be the one to come in replacement for whatever this was. It was a nice try, I guess. But yeah, just let us have the real champion. Maybe, okay, here's a cool thing. Yumi, 5 star or 3 star or whatever. When you have activated Fated 5 times, just summon a Pantheon. That's it. That's all it takes. Ezreal. Ooh, this is a hot take. This is a hot take and a half. I'm just gonna leave this here and watch the world burn. This is my opinion. I think he is not bad for Path for the same reason Irelia was, and for the same reason Seraphine was. And that is that his playstyle is annoying to play against, but the AI has no feelings, so you can play them against them. So I think Vladimir deserves to be in Path of Champions. The problem is he's kind of weak. I think this is a champion where you can go crazy with the star powers. Maybe add like a couple followers or spells that could be good. And yeah, Garen is already in path, and I repeat, could not care less. I even dare to say he is more interesting than Lee Sin, but he is still very boring. Set is in path, and he's actually fine. The thing is, I don't personally play him that much, but he is a fun champion and he is well designed in path as well. He's a little bit boring with the rally thing, but yeah, overall, I would say he's solid. Lilia, just a general don't care. I know there are a lot of people who like her, but yeah, I think she's well achieved, right? That's the thing. But because this is a tier list based on my personal opinion, I haven't really played Lilia at all, really. When fantastic champion, she just heals a lot. She's really solid. Hallowed is fun to play around. Yeah, just fun. Leona has to be one of the most boring champions I played in this game. I would say please don't, but it's already too late. So I think I'm gonna go with don't care. Maybe with more star powers, she could be interesting. But honestly, maybe she needs a rework altogether. Yeah, I think this is the correct tier for her. I think the solution is to have some extra cards, and I'm talking about PvE exclusive cards that do interesting stuff with Daybreak, so that her deck feels good to play again. I don't like her. She's just so boring and plain. Next is Lux, and this applies to both Luxes. I feel like they are okay. I will say that base Lux feels more entertaining to me than Illuminated Lux because, just building your board with stats, it kind of reminds me of the Evelyn play. I feel like Spell Lux is here and Illuminated Lux is here. So let's just put her here, right? She's fine, is what I'm trying to say. Riven is not in Path of Champions, and I don't think she should be. The reason is that she is already a pretty good champion, and like I feel like if you add Riven to the game, she's gonna become a second Bane, where she just OTKs you because she's just a really good unit with a lot of buffs and stuff. Yeah, I don't really care about Riven. I would say please don't, but maybe they will because she is a fan favorite. Next comes our newest champion, Fiddlesticks, and he is just fascinating. He is such a cool champion. He does stuff that we've never seen before, and he does it in such a cool way. I'm even adding a tier above just for him. So let's just Okay, there you go. Actually, for real though. Next up, we have Shen, and he kind of has the same problem Jarvan has, whereas he is solid and he is okay, but he is boring. And he does nothing that we want to see more of, right? Just giving stuff barrier is not entertaining enough. Jack, he is fine. I really don't care much about him. He is kind of cool, I guess. He does a thing that nobody else does, because Seth does that in a different way. But yeah, overall, I would say I don't care too much about him. I'm surprised Egrim is not in Path. I guess he is kind of boring though, isn't he? Because I'm thinking, why haven't they added him yet? He was in the original Path of Champions, but he is a little bit boring and it gets a little bit old. So yeah, maybe don't add this one, or maybe just wait a while before adding him. Sivir is just boring as a champion in general. I really don't care if she gets added or not. I don't think she brings anything new. She is kind of cute, like sharing keywords like lifesteal or elusive could be cool, but the thing is, there are so many champions that already do that Sivir, she doesn't have a thing. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't have a thing of her own. She's just a good unit in PvP, and that's all there is to it. I actually had to check this one because I don't have him unlocked. Yeah, he's cool. I really don't care about Poros, honestly. I don't think they're fun. I don't like this champion. I feel like we should have gotten a better champion. I mean, it's cute, it's fun, it's fluffy, but is it interesting? Not really. Jax is absolutely hideous. Yeah. And last but not least, Elder Dragon. My personal favorite thing about Elder Dragon is how in PvP the focus is on the dragon boons, right? Getting them into your already good units. And that's kind of how you win games. Whereas in PvE, the focus is on your Elder Dragon himself or herself. I don't know, actually. Maybe themselves. Like the focus shifts to the champion itself. So it's just such a smart move. And it's also such a fun adventure in general. Your deck is fun to play with, and there are so many deck building options. It's just a really fun experience overall. So this is what the final tier list looks like. And I think I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome. I think most champions are where they belong. There are a couple of controversial takes, right? Probably this one and this one, most people will disagree with, but for the most part, I think they're okay. Anyway, this is part one. Part two is about the champions that are not in LOR already. So look forward to that. Anyway, thank you for watching and bye.